For the first time in history, the ANC lost a by-election in a crucial ward in the Northwest Province. Here's how it happened. So earlier this week, ActionSA came from virtually nowhere to defeat the ANC in a by-election in the Northwest Province. But before we get into it, can I please remind each one of you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's completely free, and all you've got to do is click on the subscribe button at the bottom left corner of this video. Now let's break down this massive story. So the by-election in question took place in Ward 7 of Mogola in the Northwest Province. And believe me when I say, it was a photo finish. You see, ActionSA came from virtually nowhere to defeat the ANC by just 2 votes, with 837 votes compared to 835. But you might be asking yourself, well, how on earth did ActionSA manage to pull off such a victory, especially when they were virtually nowhere to be seen in the previous by-election? Well, there's a very interesting answer. You see, ActionSA recently joined with Forum for Service Delivery. Now, Forum for Service Delivery is a very popular local party in the Northwest Province, particularly in this ward. And so they were able to leverage some of the existing support for this party as they themselves decided to establish their presence under the ActionSA umbrella. If we take a look at the historical results in this ward, we see that back in the 2021 election, Forum for Service Delivery did a pretty decent job. They came in second place with 35.5% of the vote and 762 votes. We can see via the line graph that I've created here that the ANC were quite far ahead of them in that election in first place with 1,233 votes, or 57.4% of the vote. Now, in the 2024 election, Forum for Service Delivery unfortunately lost their momentum. It's also important to note that this was the same election when ActionSA contested in this ward for the very first time. And so if we are to combine ActionSA's votes with Forum for Service Delivery, the two parties earned a combined 410 votes at 19.4%. This was quite a long way behind the ANC, who surged to 1,458 votes for 69% of the votes share. So the ANC's surge in support isn't a very big surprise because, generally speaking, national elections and provincial elections have a much higher voter turnout than local elections. For Forum for Service Delivery, on the other hand, it was a very worrying sign because they lost votes in an election where more voters should have turned out. Fast forward to the other day's by-election, and Forum for Service Delivery and ActionSA were in for a very big surprise. Combined, under the ActionSA banner, the parties were able to amass 837 votes. This is the most that either party has been able to amass in Ward 7 since they began contesting elections. It made up for 33.49% of the vote and meant that for the first time in history, the ANC has lost this ward. And so if we delve into the reasons behind this success, it's pretty clear that ActionSA made a very smart tactical decision to absorb Forum for Service Delivery into their party. They understood that Forum for Service Delivery already had an existing voter base within Northwest, and so they were able to capitalize on this. Then, using their superior amounts of resources, people on the ground, and finances, ActionSA were able to expand this voter base and actually earn the most voters that ActionSA and Forum for Service Delivery combined have ever managed to amass in this ward. And what makes this a particularly remarkable achievement is the fact that by-elections generally result in a much lower voter turnout than national and local elections. And so the fact that they got their highest ever voter turnout is a very encouraging sign. It will be very interesting to see if ActionSA decide to absorb any other local parties into their own party before next year's crucial municipal elections. The two remaining by-elections of the day weren't so interesting, and so we don't really need to go into a deep dive analysis of them. To sum them up, in Limpopo, in Ward 2 of Matsale Pontrift, we saw the ANC obtain 63% of the vote in order to hold on to their existing seat. Still, this is a drop from 75%. Meanwhile, their closest opposition was the DA, trailing massively at just 14%. Still, they'll be glad that they were able to rise from 11%. Ultimately, what this municipality shows us is the growing trend across South Africa, whereby the ANC seems to be eroding support wherever it operates, and the DA is making very gradual progress within rural and township areas. Moving on to the final by-election of the day in the Eastern Cape, we saw the ANC retain its seat in Ward 15 of Echibini Mantlaneni. There, again, they declined. They fell from 76% to 69%. The EFF did enjoy some substantial growth from 6% to 18%, and the UDM held pretty steady, growing from 5% to 6%. Still, there was really no contest. All in all, it was an incredibly fascinating round of by-elections. We saw the PA continue their rise across the Western Cape and make an incredibly impactful inroads into Gauteng and specifically Soweto. Meanwhile, ActionSA proved to have taken a very decent gamble that paid off by bringing Forum for Service Delivery into their party, and for the first time ever, managing to unseat the ANC in Ward 7 in the Northwest Province. Thanks very much for tuning into this video. If you enjoyed it, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content. Until next time, I'm Matthew Cohen, and this is the Power Pod.